A
And
new
the
character.
pig we named Pigmella.
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 Why Pigmella? Why Pigmella?
It's a traditional name.
Okay. Is it?
When my sister was having a second kid, she said, "Yeah, and you're good at names." I'm like, "Oh yeah?" It's like, "Can you come up with a second name?" It's like, "What have you got so far?" Well, I was thinking Red or Pylon or Oberon. I'm like,
Oberon.
Oberon? What, you're gonna name your kid after the King of the Fairies and send him to a public school? That's legally murder. Um, so I suggested Frogmella Bendy Pig the Third, and she told me I wasn't helping.
Well, she knew what she was getting into.
The Frogmella Bendy Pig the Third is a great name, especially as it suggests that there have been two others.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Mikey, what have you been playing?
Not much apart from Project Zomboid at the moment.
With me, in fact.
Yeah. And I don't mean to troll. It seems to be a common theme.
You've actually been quite untrolly. I mean, we had a little moment where we both kept dying a lot, but
Which was neither of our fault, but still.
mostly not. No. There was a wonderful moment where, so in Project Zomboid, you can, if you're lucky, find a working car. If you're really lucky, you can find the key, or if you
Yeah.
have the skills, you can hotwire it.
Yeah.
So I'd hotwired a big flatbed dump truck. And we were off on a mission. We were going to go several towns over and find an army surplus store and get a bunch of ammunition and a bunch of guns and some tents and some, just basically the stuff we need to really be safe. Unfortunately, I've lost control of the thing a couple of times, and the engine was starting to rattle, and the windscreens were out, and the lights were all broken. And so halfway down, I was like, "Michael, do you want to drive?" It's like, "I can drive." It's like, "Yeah, I know you can. Do you want to?" Like, "I can drive." It's like, not the question I'm asking. Would you be more comfortable driving? It's like, "Yes." Great. Let's swap, and I'll read the map. So we swap. I read the map, and as we're driving, he's saying, "We really want to make sure we don't collide with anything." Well, I wasn't trying to. Yeah, I mean, just if we hit anything, the car will be damaged. Like, I know.
Oh,
I'm not
the
trying to hit
engine was
things.
already quite bad at that
Like
point. Yeah,
the
yeah,
engine just rattling is like, so, the trick is with this thing, don't run into things. Like, yeah, but I'm not trying to. At that point, Michael sees some zombies, swerves, rams into a tree, the truck dies, and we both get pulled out and eaten.
yeah.
And his face is just like, see, it's easy. It's really easy to hit a tree. They jump out at you in this game. So then we had to do a daring rescue mission, which was a very daring rescue mission. Only a torrential storm hit with red light, and we couldn't see anything, and we were murdered.
I
I
survived.
mean,
But we were murdered, but I survived. Just.
you'd already died once. That counts.
Nope.
We had to move the truck to get your corpse out.
It was crawling underneath. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, where's all my stuff? Still on that thing.
So another game I've been playing is Shadows of Doubt, which is
That
actually a
looks
game that
really, really interesting.
it is. It's very interesting.
Apparently
Shadows of,
very brutal. Sorry, I'll stop interrupting you now.
I wouldn't say brutal, but certainly difficult.
Yeah.
Shadows of Doubt is a procedurally generated voxel detective noir game.
Mm.
So you procedurally generate the city, and the crimes are procedurally generated, and solutions and the evidence. And because they're not handmade, you actually have to figure out what the evidence is. And sometimes you'll get this immediately. I did one where, there's a woman dead on the floor, and next to her is a crumpled piece of paper with a fingerprint on it. And I scan the fingerprint, and I get a copy, and it just says, "Let's play a game." And then there's 4 letters and an anagram.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you've written this in such a way that it's clearly initial and then 3 things, and you've only got 4 letters. So I just go to the phone book. It's like, there's one person, find her, check her fingerprints. There we go. Case solved. Lots of money, please.
Yeah.
Some of them will take multiple in-game days because you just don't have a clue. Like, there's one where I know what time this person arrived. I know that they were very tall and very large build. But the house they went to is in the blind spot of the camera, and they left no fingerprints in the house that I can find.
Oh dear.
And I've checked this woman's address book, and I've checked her work and everyone that she knows, and I just can't figure this out. So I've just got to wait for this killer to strike again.
So the voxel game it reminded me of also had a very similar aesthetic. You basically played as a delivery driver. I can't.
I'm thinking Teardown. It reminds me of Teardown.
Yep, Teardown is a similar voxel style. Yep, definitely.
It's not destructible like Teardown, although there's a lot of freedom, like crawling through air vents or bribing people to let you in or
I mean,
just breaking the door down and running.
they've done quite an incredible job to be able to make a procedural world that makes some sense in terms of the stories that develop and everything.
Yes, and there's a lot of things that, and it's only just entered early access. There's a lot of things that are not explained, at least not properly.
Yeah.
Like, um, there are ways you can get the last number to call this number, or there's a way you can check the CCTV of this apartment block and get a list of all the residents here. And that's really useful information, but it's not
It's
fully
not.
explained.
Yeah.
I imagine that's coming.
Yeah.
Hello, Render. Welcome.
Oh, good evening.
Yep, there's some links up above. Some of them work, some of them not so much.
I've removed the ones that don't work. Don't worry.
So yeah, it's a really compelling game. And every time you start getting really blasé about it, like, oh, I've got this, it just stumps you.
It's worthwhile knowing.
Sometimes in a fair way, sometimes not. I mean, you don't just have to do murders. You can take side jobs. Some of them
Yeah.
are like, go wreck this person's apartment. Some of them are, someone has stolen something from my house. Find it for me.
So do you end up committing crime yourself in order to get that stuff back?
I mean, I end up committing crime because it's a good way of making money. As I said to my girlfriend Jess, I've just solved a murder. I'll be right with you. I have to go sell all these diamonds that were in the safe. But it's up to you how much you're willing to do that. You also you can buy your own apartment and decorate it and stuff, which is great. Some of the cases, procedure generated cases, are simply not fair. There was one where I had to arrest somebody who had
Right.
long blonde hair, whose first name began with S, and who liked music.
Right.
Like, I'm not doing that. I have no clue who that is.
It's a
I am not.
large.
No, like sci-fi, and like I don't have a database of people's hobbies. I'm getting reminded in Discord. It was one murder really threw me. Someone was found having been murderized with a razor, fingerprint on the razor. Gotcha. Check the CCTV, and tall blonde woman at the door just before the murder, doesn't live in the building. Gotcha. Identify the woman, show the picture around, go to the house. Fingerprint doesn't match the woman.
Oh dear.
Fingerprint matches the husband. Arrest the husband. Arrest the husband. Hand the case in. Penalty for false arrest. The woman had used her husband's razor and framed him.
That's quite.
Yeah.
Well, that feels quite detailed for something that's procedurally done.
So they're actually using real things that they own as murder weapons.
It's a nice
So
bit of
if
depth.
it's her husband's razor, you can't just use the fingerprint and say he was in the house. You have to actually check who was there and why. Like, I was very impressed by that. That was a sneaky one.
Has anybody else played this game yet?
Yes, lots of people have played it.
I meant in our audience.
We should probably put a link to it, shouldn't we?